Okay, sir. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world by Nelson Mandela. With this quote, a very good morning to everyone present here. Myself, Nida Fatima, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechatronics. Honored to welcome you all on behalf of Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering for the ninth day FDP of AICTE sponsored 2-week online faculty development program on fostering ethics, moral values, and character building in technical education, phase 2, organized by Department of Mechatronics, SVCE, Bengaluru. For today's session, we have an eminent personality, Dr. Rajendra M. Galagali, Associate Professor and Head, Department of Mechanical Engineering, SGBIT, Belagavi. I welcome you for the session, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
I extend my warm welcome to Dr. Vijayashree R. Budial, HOD of Mechatronics, Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. For this session, I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
It's my privilege to welcome today's resource person, Dr. Rajendra sir. Sir is currently working as Associate Professor and Head in SG Balekundri Institute of Technology, Belagavi. Sir did his PhD in Mechanical Engineering and Science from Vishweshwara Technological University, Belagavi. Masters in Product Design and Manufacturing. Bachelor's in Mechanical Engineering. Sir has around 19 plus years of teaching experience, 2 years of industry experience. Sir has successfully completed Diploma in Research and Development from Indian Institute of Management and Technology, Chennai in 2001. He has published 7 papers in international journals and conferences. For his projects, he has received grants from KSCST and VGST. He has conducted and attended a number of training programs, which includes FDP, NBA process, Arena of 11 in different places. With this brief introduction of you, sir, we would be delighted to be a part of the session. Sir is going to have a talk on human values and its relevance in technical education. I would like to hand over the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Respected principal of the college and respected head of the department, Dr. Aicte-Svce ma'am, and the faculty from the Department of Mechatronics, Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering, and all the participants. It is my privilege today to be the resource person for the faculty development program phase 2, and indeed um, it's it's very delightful for me to share my views on human values and its relevance in technical education. In the year 2008, when AICT introduced, UGC introduced the 21 days induction program for the undergraduate students. So every college, every institution, every technical institution for that matter, and even it's there in medical institutions also, that started thinking about these human values and why there was a need in 2018 that why we could realize that it is so important even in the field of technical education. So human values is not at all a new subject for anyone for that matter. Right from our childhood, we are taught about these human values by our parents, by our teachers, by our relatives, and so on and so forth. But why it has given over the recent years so much of momentum? So one has to think over it. So that too in the field of technical education. I completed my engineering in the year 1999, And since then, so we are never bothered about these human values. It was a part, we could realize in many instances its importance, but we were not taught like a course at any point of time. But now AICT is thinking to introduce the course on human values. Now, in the recent years, we can see lots of changes happening in the society. We all know that a country progresses, maybe in terms of the innovation that it carries out. In the field of engineering, we talk about only innovation. And we try to excel in the technology, but any country, do you think, has thought about this aspect that let us do, let us excel in another area called as human values? Any of the countries, for that matter. So, but it's most important, the we can see the the happenings in the recent years that are we moving towards good things? Are we progressing towards good things? Are our values vanishing within ourselves? See the changes from years, from decades. What are all the changes that are happening in the society? So we can see lots of enhancement in crime, and because of this digital platform, we can see number of cyber crimes as well. So is it good for the society? Is it good for the individual living in the society? Is it good for the country? Is it good for the world at large? So one has to think over it. Every human being aspires to have some values. Right from the childhood, if we can see, we were taught about these human values. So every person does his education, enters into his own field for performance, for work, but we can see in and around lots of corruption happening. Why? Is there anyone who aspires, like during his education, who aspires that I want to be a corrupt person, most corrupt person in India? But many people turn to be corrupt. What could be the reason for this? Do they have human values in them? So one has to think over it. But when they are doing their education, absolutely we never thought about the human values. We know that corruption is wrong. In spite of that, the corruption is happening. Many people earn like anything in an illegal way. Do they have human values? Do they have moral values in them? Is it acceptable by the society? Definitely not. Even people who are doing it also know this fact, but in spite of that, they do it. If all the human beings think about these human values, moral values, and shape our personality accordingly, then we eradicate all sorts of problems in terms of crime, in terms of corruption, in terms of harming the society, so in many other ways. So that is why in education this is gaining more important because our society is not going in the right way. We are not protecting our environment. We are not caring for our environment. We are talking about in engineering, especially, we're talking about only innovation and to excel in life. So that too, that excellency is only measured in terms of money. To earn that, so you want to do all sorts of things without caring for the ethics, the moral values, the human values, its implications on the society. So that is why let us think about it for a while. What are these human values and what should we do? We are in the field of technical education for the last 20 years or 30 years, but one has to think over it. So let me, with this introduction, let me begin my session on human values and its relevance in technical education. Human values like to quote from Satya Sai Baba. Thinking with love is truth, feeling with love is peace, acting with love is right conduct, understanding with love is non-violence. If you can see the four words out of this, truth, peace, right conduct, and non-violence. These are the four human values that everyone must inculcate themselves. But the word love is common for all these human values. What you do is always with love and affection. Then this results in turning to be good human being with moral values, with human values, with ethics. Now let us understand to begin with. Let us understand before understanding what are human values and go into the aspects of human values. Let us understand the basic needs of any human being. The basic human being needs are the food, shelter, and clothing. We rightly call it as roti, kapda, or makan. So unless and until our basic needs are fulfilled, so we cannot think of other aspects, growing in other aspects, because basic needs must be fulfilled. It is the bound duty of the government to provide these basic needs for the human being. Then the human beings can think in other dimensions and there is a growth of the country. Any country for that matter, if you take, so the government's duty is to provide the security in terms of the basic needs, then human beings will think in other directions for their growth and for the betterment of the society. Unless and until if I struggle the whole of my life in fulfilling my basic needs, there is no question of me to think about other aspects like how I should be a good human being, how should I develop my values, because I don't have time to think about all these things till my basic needs are fulfilled. So it is most important and it has to be brought in, and there should be it should be easy for any human being, okay, to have these kinds of things, basic needs fulfilled. So then the country will prosper. Right from the beginning, we are saying that ours is a poor country. But how long we want to say this as still it's a poor country? We need to grow. The growth of the country is the growth of an individual in this country. So unless and until these basic needs are fulfilled, one cannot grow. Well, second, once these basic needs are fulfilled, the secondary needs are the human being starts thinking about I should have money, more money to lead a comfortable life. I should have a status in society, and I should develop a sort of communication in the society that I should be a recognized person. I should establish a better communication. People should recognize me. Okay. So these are our secondary needs. And once the secondary needs are also fulfilled, okay, then I think about the abstract or the metaphysical needs, which is about dream. Every individual has to have some dream to be fulfilled, has to have some goal to be fulfilled, and he has to have some kind of achievement, the happiness, success, vision, mission, so on and so forth. Now, in doing so, we think about success all the time, and success is only a state. It cannot last long. Happiness is our state of mind. Often, we try to seek our happiness only in the future, which is absolutely wrong. It's momentary, and it is going to be at that moment only. It cannot last long. If I get a straight rank in my 10th standard, it's all right. But after that, if I fail in Q1, in 10 plus 1, so can I live in the same glory? I was the most happy person when I got straight rank. But in 10 plus 1, if I am unable to clear the subject, then what is my achievement? What have I done? So it's only the achievement or the happiness or the success what we think is only at that point of time. So in this race, we often try to forget what values we have, and how we are leading our life. Is it good for the society? Is it good for the, uh, the people surrounding me? Am I an influencing personality for them? So it's only possible if I can build my own character, the others should be inspired. So that should be the motto of any individual. Now let us understand the meaning of human life. It's only from birth to death, how we live the whole of our life, right from the age when we start thinking till the deathbed, how we have spent this whole of our life with love all the time, with anger, with frustration, with jealousy. This all matters. And then, are we going to be an ideal person in somebody's life from birth to the entire life? Can we shape our personality in that fashion where I have a recognition, people should be influenced by me, there should be benefit for the people, people should learn from me and take me as an ideal in life. Are we having this kind of a dream? And always throughout our life, fight it's a fight, it's an integral part of our life. We fight for everything. We fight for our basic needs, we fight for our secondary needs, we fight for our abstract needs. But do we fight for that we all should be a good human being? I try to be a good human being throughout my life. Are we fighting really in this direction, which is most important? No, not at all. Because we don't have time to think about all these aspects because we are in a race of achievement, success, growth in terms of monetary benefits. But ultimately, what you do from birth to death, the last one end is unavoidable. Our destiny is fixed. We all know this, but in spite of that, we all do so many things in our life. Even if we don't like, also, we try to do these things. We have something called as our conscience. It always speaks to, it always prohibits you in doing the illegal things, the bad things, which are harmful for the society, but in spite of that, we do it. So many people take birth and leave this world. But how many people do we remember in this race? Very few people. Life has its essence and purposes beyond mere existence. People existed and vanished without being leaving any kind of impression in the society, in the world. But there were people who have left a great impression in the years to come. Generation to generation have to have remember these personalities. To name few, Mahatma Gandhi ji is known for peace. He struggled for the India's freedom. We all know this. But how many of us know, how many of us have read the autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi ji? I read this autobiography when I was doing my 10 plus 2. I was greatly impressed by this personality. Because these people, if you see Lal Bahadur Shastri ji, Sir M. Vishwesharaya ji, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam ji, one thing is common in them, they were all good human beings. They were having some values, moral values in them. So that is why the whole world remembers them. You do a kind of innovation and vanish. That innovation is at that point of time If it is taken over by another kind of innovation, your innovation does not matter. The person who come up with this cell phone was the greatest time. But now we can see lots of features with the same cell phone. Do you still remember who has invented that? Because that is all going to be covered on the blanket of series of inventions. But the people, the good human beings who have led a marvelous life, leaving a permanent impression in this world, are remembered throughout. As long as this earth exists, I think the people will be remembered. So, is it good for us to think about that we should have moral values at this stage? Right from the childhood in schools, we're being taught about the moral values, but we can find students copying. Is it good or bad? The student knows, the parents know, the teachers knows, but in spite of that, some kind of copying is happening over there. Can a student tell himself or herself that I'll not copy at any moment, even if I fail, that does not matter for me. Every student of this country, if he or she makes this determination, is it a big task? Right from school days, all such things, which are good things, bad things, must be taught, and they must imbibe in them all these qualities. The personality must be shaped in the school days, because where the students start thinking. So from the beginning, this inculcation must happen. But unfortunately, very recently in 2008, UGC has thought about it, that there is a necessity for the professional courses also, that this aspects of human values must be taught, like an induction program needs to be conducted for them. But can we not think, is it too late for the students to be taught at this level? No doubt it is being taught in school days, but how much is the importance that is given at the schools now? So there is also a stiff competition. We always tell child about, to get marks, you should be behind marks. But often we also tell this, but how specifically, how much importance that we give to our child to teach these moral values. And now it's very much challenging with innovation, with technology only. Every child is born with a smartphone in hand. It's really challenging for us. And now the kind of education system that we have must be changed, because the generation now, it's going to be all different. Right from a child, when he or she has a cell phone in hand, so that means the child is carrying so many distractions at hand. It's very challenging for us. Now we are thinking about the human beings, human life, human values, moral values, ethics, character building. But now is it not challenging for us? Because that is where, when the child starts thinking, um, he or she should be taught what is right or wrong. But now parents do not have much time to give it to their child. And always, if a child cries, you try to give cell phone in hand. Okay, so that is how you can make him keep quiet. But is it right or wrong? Even in schools now, children are carrying smartphone. Is it good for them? As parents, are we spoiling them? So it's really a challenge for us. All the students are now, you can see, they are in the social media, and they have lots of distractions. How to eradicate this? Are they reading the autobiographies now? Are they reading books? It all gone now. So how do you get these kinds of human values in children, either in school or at the professional courses? It's a big challenge for the teachers. So now, if we can read these biographies, definitely our values are going to change. It's going to shape our personality. It's going to change our attitude. Let me take a break and just battery problem. Now, how often life is has its and its essence and purpose is beyond mere existence. So, how we are spending the whole of our life? Can we leave an impression? It's only possible to have human values. If we have moral values, we follow ethics, then only it's possible. You do a kind of innovation, but if you're not a good human being, you do not have human values or moral values, you have you do not have the right attitude, are we going to accept that kind of a personality in the society? He has done marvelous innovation. It all goes in vain unless and until he has all these values. So we should not have ego. We should not have, superiority complex. What do we say? Otherwise, these are all the enemies to have the moral values in ourselves, to practice human values. These are all the hindrances or the enemies. So let us understand what are human values. Human values are something related to the human life from birth to death. Are we practicing these human values? Are we good human beings? Are people thinking about us as good human beings? This is a universal concept. The entire world is behind these human values. Now you can see many disciples from foreign countries of our great spiritual leaders now. Our spiritual leaders, if we can see them, if we can talk to them, if we can listen to them, we are going to change ourselves. So can you not think about these human values when you interact with the spiritual leaders? One must have to do that. How often our children are going for the musical concert? How often our children are going for to listen to the talks by the spiritual leaders? How many? Can we take a percentage of it? How many are interested? They must have this kind of, they must be taught these things. We must create an interest in them. They must think in this direction. That is why, as a part of the induction program, this universal human values is being introduced. So there is a need. And these are the drivers of action. If I have moral values, if I am an ethical person, my action is always different. If I am taking a certain position as a leader in an organization, my action, is it accepted by my colleagues? Is it accepted by my subordinates? I must think about it. If I have human values in me, my action is altogether different, which is accepted, which is adorable by my subordinates, my colleagues, even my superiors. So human values are the drivers of action. The way you behave, it all depends on what values you have. That's going to shape our personality. And if we have these inculcate these moral values in us, human values, we will have the consistent behavior which is accepted by the society. Have you ever seen a spiritual leader getting angry in public? You can see a consistent behavior of our spiritual leaders, so which is always accepted by the society. They are doing great work for the mankind. Is it not our own duty to follow the path laid down by them? We must have a consistent behavior like them. Then only it is accepted by the society. If I don't have a consistent behavior, so it's very difficult for uh, any human being to understand. Most important is human values. If I am practicing human values, I must have consistent behavior. Then dignity, respect, and appropriateness. These are all the parts of these human values. I will have dignity, I'll have respect, I'll be very much appropriate in my action. It's only possible if I possess these human values in me, unless and until it's not possible. Spiritual leaders have certain kind of a dignity. And it's not only the spiritual leaders, the great personalities, what I have named, and still now we have so many personalities, all have these human values. And these are something which cannot be depleted, which cannot be vanished. So we know these great personalities only by these things because they have left a kind of impression because they were all good human beings, they had the human values, they have the concern for the society. So that is why these have not vanished. The person may go out of the world, but how he has led his life is going to last long. It's going to create an impression and it's going to change others also. And it's going to, these human values are going to multiply. When they are applied, used, expressed, and acted upon, they are going to multiply. So that is why we, as an individual, must think about these aspects of our human values, and then we try to lead a life which is acceptable by the society, which is acceptable by the organization, which is acceptable by the world. So every one of us, if we can think in this direction, is it that difficult for us? I told you, right from birth to death. Death end is unavoidable. Every one of us knows this. But what all things we have done throughout our life, can we think about it? No, the unfortunate thing is that a person thinks only when he is on his deathbed. He recalls what has been done, what he has done, all these ways. Now, during this pandemic, you can see a number of people going out of this world. Great personalities are going out of this world. That means death is inevitable, it can come at any point of time. We are going to vanish from this world one or the other day. We all know this fact, it's the truth. But how often we give time to think about all these aspects? Once we think ourselves, once we start thinking only the good things, doing good, nothing more than that. Every one of us in this country, if we start thinking about this, can we change an education system wherein this also needs to be inculcated, where we are all living as human beings in harmony in the society without harming anyone, without doing crime? We can see in news channels lots of crime is happening. It's increasing year by year. The crime rate is increasing. Is it good or bad for the society? That means the people who are doing crime, they are not the human beings. They do not have the human values in them. They do not care for the society. But if they also think about this, they must be educated on these aspects. It's not only in education, even we can take up this initiative that we must visit all the villages. We must have form a group like something like, it's not the bound duty of our only spiritual leaders to spread happiness, to spread to practice these human values. It's not their duty. It's not only their duty, but can we make some kind of a group wherein we always try to talk about these human values, bring good things in society. All these NGOs and other things are existing, but is it sufficient? Where is the root cause for this? The corruption is still there, it's increasing. But is it accepted by the society? Not at all. Crime is increasing. Is it acceptable? Not at all. So, like this, one has to give time to himself or herself to think about, then only it's possible. Now is the right time for all of us to think about this direction. So let us understand what are the types of human values. Truth is one of the values. Right conduct, love, peace, non-violence. Truth, satya, what we call satya. We have heard the stories of Satya Harishchandra, story of Satya Harishchandra. He had lots of problems. He had faced lots of problems because he was a truth-speaking person. But at the end, good things happened for him. Though he suffered lots in his life with plenty of problems, but he did not leave this truth at any point of time. Now, can we adopt this right from today? Can we take an oath that I'll speak only truth, I'll not lie at any point of time? Is it possible? Definitely it's possible. The circumstances make an individual to lie, but if he is determined that I am not going to lie, I'll speak only the truth. Is it not possible? It only requires a great determination. That's all. We all educated people who think in this direction, and we try to inculcate these kinds of things to our students. But circumstances, as I told you, make us to tell lie. But is it going to last long? I'll be caught one or the other day. No, we can see the news channels. People are telling lie openly. Everyone knows that it's a lie. But why are we keeping up? Because whatever he speaks, even it's a lie, he speaks that it's a truth. Because he knows that nothing is going to happen to me. Because of my power and position, I can speak anything in this country. Nobody is there to question me. Unfortunately, things like this are happening in society. People are following these kinds of leaders. It's a very unfortunate thing in India, and maybe in some other countries also. If people, the leaders are doing like this, then what kind of impression, what kind of changes are going to bring in the society? They will teach us that whatever you do is not questionable. You can come out of this situation very easily. Are they demonstrating these kinds of things? Then it's also a hurdle for all of us to practice human values. I told you about the story of Satya Harishchandra, but is it possible for all of us, whatever may be the circumstance, if I am determined that I will not speak truth, it's only the matter of determination that one has to make. Right conduct is dharma. What is my action? Is it in the right way? Is it going to hurt an individual? Is it going to hurt the society? Is it bad for the society? Before doing that, can I think about it? Right conduct is one of the human values. You should always think and act. Love. My act with love, affection is always acceptable. Peace. The world has to move towards peace. We know that many people got the Nobel Prize in this field. Peace. Many people spend the whole of their life in bringing peace and harmony in the society. Are we one among them? Can I be a personality like this in the field of peace? That I must spread this, then I'm recognized. But lots of dedication is required, lots of sacrifice is required. That is why very few people are leaving an impression in the field of peace. Non-violence, so much of violence is happening. Can I be non-violent? Can I not do any kind of illegal things or crime sort of a thing, create some violence in society? Is it not my bound duty to do that? Now, whenever a Bandh is called, can it not be celebrated? Can it not? It's not the question of celebration. When the Bandh is called, can it not be done in a peaceful way? Why it should be always violent? What kind of message has to be shown by, by way of our conduct? Why we should be violent? These are all the non-violence is one of the human values. We should not do the violence. So we should not do. So these are all the challenges, these are all the human values we must inculcate in ourselves. This comes only by practice. Human values need to be practiced. They do not come overnight. Lots of dedication, determination is required. At the same time, you must always listen to your conscience. That is most important. So these eternal values elevate the human life. I may excel in the field unless and until I have these kinds of qualities, I may not be recognized in the society. Let us go into the details of each one of these human values. Truth. Who am I? What is the purpose of my life? How can I live fully in the moment? Have we given thought, time to ourselves to think about this direction? Can I leave my cell phone one day that I'll not be taking the cell phone? I'll lock myself in a room, sit quietly, think about all these aspects. What am I going to do? Is it right? How I spent my life during these days, how I want to spend the rest of my life. What is the purpose of my life? Is it mere existence? Or what am I supposed to do? As a human being, my home duty is to protect the environment and the society. I should not be a harmful element to the society. So, in order to have these kind, one has to give time to himself or herself. One has to think at least 15 minutes a day. Person can list down what all the things he did today. Was it good or bad? How things can be improved so that we turn ourselves into good human beings. So always speak truth. Can I make a determination? So if I start doing this, that's going to build strong character. If my behavior is it's an untruth behavior, it's an antisocial behavior, is it acceptable by society? We know that it's not good. In spite of that, we do it because most often we do not listen to our conscience. It always speaks the truth, but we are never bothered about it. We can find so many corrupt people in and around us. Do they have the conscience? Definitely they have. Are they listening to it? Definitely not. Why? It's only we are bound by the circumstances. We are acting only based on the situation, the circumstances. We always think the direction that our future should be secure and our younger generation should not suffer. We create a lot of wealth, maybe in an illegal way. Is it right? Definitely it's not right. But if all these people who are doing this, if they turn to be good human beings, practicing human values, they have moral values, they have ethics, then what kind of society you can imagine? All are good human beings. Now we can see a society living in harmony, peace, and love. Is it not our aim? Definitely. But what is our duty? It's only the individual in this country changes, then it is possible. Change is possible with few people. If you want to see the change in the world, change yourself. Telling lies hurts ourselves and others. But it's very easy to recognize whether a person is lying or not. We encounter lot many of such things in our day-to-day life. The student comes late to the class. Probably the teacher asks what would be the reason. He lies. Teacher knows, the student knows, but it's all right. Next time, second lie. That is how we are not giving importance. This is only one circumstance that I have told you. Like this, we encounter with so many circumstances with students. It's not that every student speaks lies. That's not my. I want to tell that. But with only a few students, if a person, if I am going to excuse that even though he is telling a lie, if I am going to excuse, the other people, the other students are also going to see this. This teacher leaves it, it's all right. We can also tell lie and escape. But they are not in a position to understand the wrong thing that they are doing. As teachers, bound by the situation, we are also not in a position to scold them. So scolding is actually bad, but can we find ways and means to avoid this, to inculcate values in them? It's a great challenge for teachers. But first, the teachers have to change themselves. That is most important. So I'm going to speak about it in my next slide. Right conduct, action listening to conscience is beneficial. Always we must listen to our conscience and act. It's always beneficial because it will never tell you that it will never allow you to do the wrong things if you are listening. But the bad part is that we don't listen to it and act. I'm angry. I am angry on somebody. I know that it's wrong. My conscience will tell me that it's wrong. In spite of that, I do it because it's not the situation. So that is why I told you it comes only by practice. So action should always be decided by the right thought. Before I put in my action, I must always think and act. Often in angry, my acts have a control. That's going to be a wrong thing. But at the end, you will realize that it's the wrong thing that I did. Because when I act upon, I have not given thoughts before acting. So this is possible only when I am angry. Because the mind is not in control, I am not going to listen to conscience. Later, I will realize. If you realize that's well and good. So that is why in many instances like this, we need to have a control. And we need to give a thoughts. So it takes time for an individual to do that. But definitely it's possible. Our mind nowadays, you can see, is so much busy. A person with a daydream, if he's always dreaming, actions are useless, clumsy, harmful for self and others. So if I put my action, if my mind is busy, I cannot think and act. So that's definitely going to be harmful. That's not going to be acceptable. I should have a very cool and a calm mind. Then my action is acceptable. My action is in a proper way. But nowadays we are so much busy that we hardly give any time to make our mind free and act upon. Most important. So right conduct becomes an important aspect of life because we are going to do actions every day in so many situations, so many things. But it is the right conduct that we do. One must always think about it. It only comes by practice and you can reach perfection. Next is love. It's an action, pure action is heart. So if I have a heart full of love, then my action is definitely acceptable by the other person. If I start wishing happiness for the other person, I'm going to change myself. I feel good. Is it not? But if I think always bad things about others, definitely my thing is not acceptable. But if I prolong this, I will imbibe in myself, I'll turn into personality, hard personality, which is not acceptable. But when you wish happiness for the other person, there's a great joy in doing it. It only comes by practice. Think of others all the time. Even if he is an enemy for you, think good about him. Can you try to change him with your behavior? The challenge for you. Is it possible? Definitely it's possible. It's only we need to bring change in ourselves that is most important. It is beneficial energy directed towards the other person. My action, if it is with love, definitely it is acceptable. My action, if it is with anger, it is acceptable. We all know this. And in spite of that, we do it because situation makes us to act like that. But can we have control over this situation? Can we change the situation? Is it possible? It's only by way of thinking you can change yourself to do good things. And you'll have to give time to yourself. Then only it's possible. Love is unconditional and unselfish. If it is a conditional, then love does not have any. So in this way, you can develop this kind of always your action should always be with love, honesty. So that is quite possible. And now peace, most important. We want peace in this world, but how often we give an importance for this? If I have a smiling face, it indicates that I'm happy and contented. If I talk to the other person with smile, always acceptable. Definitely, the other person likes to speak to me the other time. Because of my power and position, if I start behaving with anger, am I acceptable? Power and position is only momentary. We should not have so much of love for it. It's only a matter of time that may change everything. But one should have always a smile on his face. So it's most important to think about peace, to spread this kind of message in the society. Contentment, giving good things to the others is the greatest contentment. I have bought a car I am happy. I have got clothes. I am happy. If I start fulfilling my needs, I'll be happy. But if you start giving good things to the others, you'll still more be happy. Just think over it. That I have given good things, I have changed, I have created some kind of impression in the student's life. So there's a contentment in life. Giving good things to others. We must practice this always. Giving good things to the students. Inner agitation must stop when I think about peace. Then I feel peaceful. Inner agitation should not be there. My friend buys Mercedes Benz car, but do I have an inner agitation that I should also buy a similar kind of car or more than that? If I start thinking about this, definitely I don't have peace of mind. We all know this. What I'm telling you is only the known facts, but we hardly give an importance to think about it. We all know that it's wrong. We should always feel proud what God has given to us. Try to get the other things only by doing good things in a legal way. Then that satisfaction is something different. It's only that we need to tune our mind. If we do not have a control over mind, if we leave it, then it really becomes difficult. An individual in peace. So there is definitely a peace in his family. Definitely he is going to bring harmony in society. In my locality, if all people are living very cordially, helping others, then that turns to be a good society. There is no hatred, there is a peace, there is no violence. Always people greet others with love, affection. Can we imagine such a kind of society? Is it possible that where we are living, can we have this, train people on this, tell them the importance, turn that society into a good society? Is it not possible? Definitely it's possible. We need to do the things in our locality, spread a message about these human values, turn the society into a harmful society, sorry, a harmony in society. If we take up this as a challenge, we can do this. But only thing, we need to dedicate time for this. For all these things, what I'm talking about, one requires time. If his mind is busy all the time, right from morning till he or goes, she goes to sleep, then where is the time to think about all these aspects? Nowadays, it's difficult to find this time, but one has to find the time to think about it. Then self-esteem, calmness, and freedom from anxiety. If you have peace, if your mind, if you have a peace of mind, then you have a self-esteem, there's a calmness, there's a freedom from anxiety. Now, if you can see, think about like when you started doing this job, after some time, have you changed? I have changed a lot. When I started my career in the year 1999, I was a different person because my needs, my aspirations, my goals, my dreams were different. Hardly I have given any importance for this. But now, over these 20 years, I'm thinking in a different, I'm changed man now. I'm thinking in this direction now. Over the years, from decades to decades, our thinkings would change based on our priorities in life. But at the same time, this is eternal. most important for all of us to think, and one has to give time for this. Non-violence, coming on to last human values, practice the first four results in non-violence. If you have truth, the other four, the peace, love, right conduct, and truth. If I practice all these, then result in non-violence. Unless and until these are fulfilled, I cannot fulfill this. This is most important in the society. Highest achievement of any human living is non-violence. If absolutely there is no violence, there is no fight at the border, all countries do not have any border issues, all countries are living or maintaining a cordial relationship, then why we are spending so much on these aspects to secure only our border? Is it not the waste of our energy, waste of our money, waste of our wealth? What is the gain for this after all doing this? It's only the prestige, pride, and the stunts of the country. We are all fighting for this. But often we do not think that we are going to waste lots of things. Most importantly, we are wasting our valuable time in securing our border. Every country is doing that, in fact. But can they not divert their attention in doing some fruitful things and bring harmony in the society? Is it not the bound duty of every leader in the respective country? Why we can't have a cordial relationship with our neighbors? The people, the leaders must change. Every leader in the country must change. They must think in this direction. Then the change is possible. So this kind of message has to be spread in every country. Respect for all life living in harmony with nature. Respect for all life living in harmony with nature. We should have respect. It's not only with the human beings, all other animals living, we should have respect. Then only I turn to be a good human being. Not hurting anybody by thought, word, or deed. It's also a violence. This is also violent. Because of my power, my position, I cannot hurt somebody. Either I am thinking about negative things or the bad things for the other person. It is considered to be violent, not acceptable. We always think about negative things because negation is there in our blood. How often we think good for others? If I can remember in one of the movies, Three Idiots, there was a dialogue, दोस्त फेल होता है तो दुख होता है, दोस्त फर्स्ट आए तो और भी दुख होता है. You see the kind of jealousy. This is a fact. Can we avoid this? If my friend comes first, I should have more joy than him. Is it possible? It's quite possible. Only thing we need to tune our mind. It only comes by practice. We need to give time for this, but definitely that turns you into an impressible personality of the society by doing this. The two aspects of non-violence are the psychological is compassion for all. You need to have a compassion for all, and then when it's social, the appreciation of all cultures and religions, caring for the environment. Are we respecting the other religion? We must do that. Every religion must be respected. We should not ever feel that our religion is only great. There are people with other religion. We must respect them. They must respect our religion. Then only we can bring harmony in society. Otherwise, all the things, all sorts of things like communal fights and all, they are happening now and then. It's definitely non-violent thing and not acceptable by the society. It's a harmful for the society. Lots of energy is wasted. It may give some kind of other impression. It may spread. It will spoil. It will spoil the whole of the country's harmony. So it's only an individual has to think about this and change himself or herself in this direction. Then only it's possible. So before we do watch your word for truth. Before I speak, I should always think whether am I speaking the truth. Think and act. Action for conduct, I should always think and act. I should always think about peace. I should build a character which is loved by others. This is only possible if I have values in me. Do I have a heart for non-violence? So if we practice all these over the years, definitely we are going to bring change. Change. Let us understand the aspects of human value and its relevance in the field of technical education. Is there any subject in engineering which teaches human values? It's not there. Are we teaching Ramayana and Mahabharata in engineering, which talks about only moral values and truth, the dharma, right way of conduct? Are we teaching Bhagavad Gita? Are we making them to read this? When we were children, hmm, uh, Ramayana and Mahabharata, we often used to be taught in schools. We used to watch serials, get to know about Ramayana and Mahabharata. We had some kind of, we used to love reading this or watching serials based on Ramayana. So that is why we have some kind of values in ourselves because we have this kind of a background. Now think about today's children. Can you pose questions on Ramayana and Mahabharata? Can you conduct quiz? How many of them will participate? How many of you have read the books on this? Now children are talking about in schools, if you say they are only talking about Harry Potter, they do not know about Rama and Mahabharata. What kind of values you want to inculcate is really challenging for us. Now we are thinking about doing this in the field of technical education. Now how we should do it here? We see so many students in our campus. Students are good, but sometimes we feel that the behavior of the students is not good now. That must be changed. The generation has changed. There are lots of challenges for you. They may tell lie to you. The kind of behavior that they show in the campus isn't acceptable. It's a big challenge for the teachers, the professional colleges, professional courses. Especially when I talk about students' behavior. So every teacher has a concern about it. But what are we doing to change the behavior of the students acceptable by the society? So that is why there is no subject in English. What way we need to change the behavior of the student? It's a big challenge for us. And how to teach human values when there is no subject is again a big challenge for us. If there is a subject, there are marks. University allow keeping it as a credit course, and the student has to learn so many credits, and it becomes a mandatory course for him to pass and earn those credits. But he or she will be studying only from the examination point of view. That is not going to serve the purpose. The ICT is thinking about introducing a course on human values. It must be something different. We are passing the examination. will not suffice. Are we teaching about ethics? The colleges which are going for MBA, which are MBA accredited, National Board of Accreditation, this is the eighth outcome, program outcome. As an engineering graduate, engineering attribute for a graduate, that he should follow ethics. There is some subject called as a professional ethics. How much importance we are giving, what students are giving, how the um, is it that important? How the students are treating about this subject? Are they really learning this professional ethics? Most important, we need to think about it. And often it becomes very difficult for us when we are mapping the courses with this ethics. When we are doing this the course outcomes and the program outcomes, that's the COPO mapping. It becomes very difficult for us. How do you map with ethics? So can we practice this kinds of thing in our engineering? Engineering, we talk about only innovation. Do you have a club in our engineering college? Human values club? You talk about innovation club, robo club, social club, projects club, so many other aspects. But is there any human values club in an engineering college? One must think about it. Teachers must practice human values. This is most important, and I stress upon this point. Most often, what we teach them, what we tell them, students may not listen. Most of the things they learn is only through observation. Seeing on to our behavior, students are going to change. So that is why, as teachers, we must practice these human values first. When we turn to be good human beings, an impressive personality for the students, definitely they are going to accept us. Definitely we are going to leave some kind of impression in them. This I noticed very recently, 5 to 6 years back. A passed out student asked me, "Sir, how do you keep calm, cool all the time, irrespective of the situation?" He noticed that during his stay in engineering, but he asked me this question when he passed out and met me after 2 years. Because that kind of an impression I have already left in them. I'm not boasting, but there's a fact. That kind of an impression I have already left unknowingly. The student has, understood this, and he still remembers even after 2 years. So that is why teachers' role in students' life is most important. As teachers, it's not only that the 21 days induction program, you give a session and forget it, the students will also forget it. No. More than that, teachers must practice human values. Think about in this direction. Definitely, we are going to change the students' behavior if we practice human values as a teachers. Then engineering graduates must go out of the college with human values. This is quite possible. I emphasize on this point, teachers must practice human values. Then only things the change is possible. So it will the course may take some time to be introduced, but right now, we can start practicing human values in the institutions that we are working. Definitely, it's going to result in 4 years to come. You can see lots of changes in the institution happening, and the graduates who are passing out of this institution will also possess human values. Out of the 8 program outcomes that are being shown, ethics, the engineering society. Okay. So ethics, I found it more useful because that is most needed. The students, Now the people who are doing corruption, they're also students sometimes back, but never ever as a student, I never had a taken, I never had a dream, I never dreamt that I should be a corrupt person. I want to be the top corrupt person in this country. But why am I turning to be corrupt? Where are my values? If I produce an engineering graduate with human values, these qualities should last long. It's only by practice and practice. All the graduates must have these human values before they go out, and they also should practice. So like this, the spread or the importance of these values must be, spread across the society. Then only the change is possible. So as teachers, I again emphasize on this point that we must practice human values. It's most important. Only when you are teaching about that in terms of a lecture, they are not going to listen. It hardly creates some sort of impression or changes him or her. But if they observe you, that you have human values, you have more, you have ethics in you, they are going to learn on their own by observation. So, as uh, the head of the institution, the, the key people in an organization must think about in this direction, and they should have set a goal that in 4 years to come, that I have a target my engineering graduates along with these 12 outcomes being proposed by the NBA, human value should also be there. So that is why we have inculcated this in our institute vision to impart quality education with human values. Because our institution is led by a spiritual leader. Our vision is that our engineering graduates must turn into a good human values, must turn into a good human beings, serving the society with human values, ethics in place. One must dream about it. Then only the name and fame come for the institution. If our graduates are recognized as good human beings in the society, that's the greatest achievement that sooner or later everyone would realize. Then how do you bring these kinds of human values in students? I propose some of the direct methods. In school days, we have put this thought for the day. Are we doing even at the professional courses that put this thought for the day for the students? Are we telling stories? Do you have time to tell them the stories wherein they can learn? At least I have started doing this. Apart from giving the technical knowledge, it's not sufficient for them to turn into good human beings. But we need to tell them other aspects of life also. What is the importance of human values? What do you mean by life skills? There is something beyond getting a degree. You need to lead a very comfortable, peaceful life. You come across lots of problems in life. How do you tackle them? That is most important. We can shape them to tackle any kind of problem, either at profession or at personal life. Some 10 years back, I have read an article in the newspaper. A graduate from IIT, settled in abroad, has 4 children, excelled in life, earned lots of money, settled in a foreign country. But one day I could hear a news saying that this person committed suicide. He's a successful person. He was a successful person. What made him to do or act like this? Is the question. We always think about the things or possessing things than necessity. That's the main culprit. There are two things. Uh, what I think about is one is we want to we want to get the things beyond necessity, and second aspect is expectation. These are the two culprits. If I open my cupboard and see how many shirts or trousers I have, I don't have a count. That means I'm buying things than necessity. Instead of that, can I use that money to serve the society, to donate, to help others to live a comfortable life? Am I thinking in this direction? Is it the duty of only the government or the industrialists who have the moral or the social responsibility? If I earn 1 rupee, if I am giving 10 paise out of this for the people who need it, then that kind of happiness is altogether different. How often I visit orphanages, old age homes? Do I have time to do that? But our students must be insisted, must be taken to the old age homes. Let them feel the reality of life. As a part of the induction program, the students may be asked to visit the old age homes often. They must think that how privileged they are. They must understand the problems in the society. They should not always think and see only the comfortable life. They should also see the hardship of life. That is most important. And are we playing value based songs? Are our students listening value based songs? Now, if you can see the songs, what kind of do they have the meaning? What kind of songs our kids are listening? Is it good? It's only for the entertainment if they are doing it, that's well and good. But if these songs are creating some sort of impression in them, then definitely it's challenging for us. So that is why I told that right from school days, they must be shaped. Even now in the technical or professional courses, when students are there with us for 3, 4 years, and we also must take care of them in these aspects. How to teach them human values, how to make them to practice human values. So by playing value-based songs, they must we must create an interest in them. How many of your students listen to classical music? If there is a classical concert, how many of them attend? Just show interest or attend? Is it good? If there is some live concert, like there is some pop singer, what is the crowd being expected over there? I'm not saying it's not bad. It's a bad thing, but it's only going to play with the state of mind of the student. So that is why I'm more worried about it. And the kind of activities that we ask the students to do, like we take up an initiative to take the students to the old age home. Are we to go to the village, understand their problems, to see the village life, how the children are deprived of the basic education, the basic food, shelter? We must teach them. We must teach them. That is why also AICT has introduced that some social activity points need to be earned by the students. See, on to all these things, even the government is trying hard that our engineering graduates must be must be good human beings. They must have human values. In all these aspects, the government is insisting upon, the authorities insisting upon, and the agencies are insisting upon. They must learn the silent sitting. This is most important. How often in a day we get time to ourselves? Can I sit silently for 15 minutes? Do I have at least 15 minutes in a day to give it to myself? Silently, I must sit and think about it. Every day, if a student practices this, sitting silent at least for 15 minutes a day, definitely will bring lots of changes in him in the years to come. Then how to implement this, how to motivate students to do this is a big challenge for us. Now, with respect to intercurricular and extracurricular methods, so human values can also be taught. We can form clubs, express ideas, wherein the attitudes can be modified. It will help to understand others. It will help them to learn to tolerate, most important, acceptance of others. If a person behaves wrongly, we must be able to tolerate and turn that person. So when it is in group, it's very difficult. When we give the group activities, lots of learning happens towards it. If one of those students turn to be a good human being who is practicing human values, he can entirely convert that group. He has that potential. So that is why these clubs are most important. And we try to teach them all these things through formation of clubs. Our involvement is also required over here. There may be disputes happening in these clubs because when they express ideas, everyone has to accept it. There is a difference of opinion. So learning happens. Then how to respect others' ideas, how to convince them. Lots of learning happens in these aspects, and they can understand them in a better way, and there would not be any disputes. So it's a learning lesson for all the students, and this can change their behavior. And we can suggest as a part of the curriculum, the students must come up with projects. We can suggest themes-based projects. Engineer and society, when we think about it, engineer has certain responsibility towards the society. If we can take up the genuine problems from the society and address them in the form of project, it's a very good thing. He can understand the people's problems living in the society. He must do wonderful projects, uplift the villages. So, a program being launched, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan scheme. Why we want to wait till a government launches a scheme? As teachers, can we not think about suggesting the projects which are beneficial for the society, doing good things for our society, uplifting the village life? In this direction, the projects can also be given to students. In doing so, the students will learn about, will definitely develop a sort of concern to the society, and we can organize tours to historic places. Now, how often in engineering, in professional courses, we often make a visit to the historical places. We think about only innovation, only industrial visits. Why can't we have tours to the historic places? Because lots of learning happens from there. Why can't we visit temples? And factories, arms, power stations, etc. These are the routine things. But how often we visit historic places in campus? So that is why in 21 days induction program is part of that. The students must visit the historical places in and around. That's going to change their mind. I go to temple every day. My attitude is going to change. How often I go to a temple? Definitely it's going to change me. Because there is a sense of fear that I should not do bad things. I cannot think of ill things when I enter the temple. So that is how if I am doing it frequently, definitely I am going to get a change in myself. Now, Organize exhibition on history of freedom movement. So how often we think in this direction? It's only being done in schools now, but how we can take up this in a professional course? Exhibition on history of freedom movement, because lot many people have sacrificed their life in getting freedom for India. How often the students know about this? If they know, if they have the concern for the people who have fought for the freedom of this country, they have concern towards them, if you can think about them, definitely their mindset is going to change. So that is why this becomes important. In engineering, we talk about only innovation. We teach them to excel. That is why Three Idiots movie is rightly being shown for there. What is most important is you have to excel, you have to earn lots of money, you should have a position in society. Most important is it is never thought, though it's a prestigious institution. Never thought about that. I must teach the human values for the students at the same time. Never ever thought about it. Now we need to organize events related to patriotism and nationalism. So that is why we also take it as a part of the induction program. But earlier to that, have we organized any kind of events related to patriotism and nationalism? We only celebrate it on the day of independence. Is it only being celebrated? Does it come only once in a year? Patriotism should be there in an individual living in this country. Then only he cares for the country and the society. So initiate such kinds of activities. What we want is our engineering graduates come up with 90% of the marks, 95% of the marks, but if they are not good human beings, it's going to be a total waste because they are going to harm the society when they enter. They get a very good position because they possess these marks, they have the IQ, they have the EQ, but if they don't have the human values in them, the person doing administrative services gets a position. He turns to be a corrupt because we have not taught him the human values. He has also not thought about these human values. So it becomes a challenge for us because many graduates, many engineering graduates, are turning out to be IAS officers. Now we need to take up the activities like plantation. Is it only on the environment day that we must do plantation? Other than that, is it possible for us? Definitely it's possible. You can make a plantation club in your organization. You create an awareness and care for the environment. All these are possible. But how often because we are restricting these kinds of activities only on one auspicious day in a year. But why can't we have a plantation club in an institution? People are interested. We remember personality Salumarga Timmakka, who inspired her to plant trees. Like this, we get students who are interested in plantation. Make a club of them, let them create some kind of awareness and care for the environment and bring a change in others also. So that is why by doing all these activities in our institution, we can moving towards teaching them the human values, then incorporating value-based education. What education we follow, it's only the education, it's not value-based education. Value-based education must be followed. That is why value-based education that they must be taught about these ethics, values. Where do you get time? So it's a challenge for teachers like us to think about it and how actually we incorporate the things in the institutions that is going to be turn into a value-based education rather than mere education. Finally, I would like to conclude my presentation by a thought from Mahatma Gandhi ji. Your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions, your actions become your habits become your values become your destiny. Ultimately, with all these values in a human being are most important, that's going to fix your destiny. With this, I conclude my presentation and I thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to be a research person on the occasion of the Faculty Development Program, AICT sponsored Faculty Development Program. I thank you all for patient listening.
Thank you, sir. Uh, can I conclude the session, sir?
Yes, if any
Okay.
are there, we most happy to take the questions.
No questions, sir.
No problem.
The way you have explained the concepts that human values should be learned, not taught, were interesting. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful talk on human values and its relevance in technical education. I would like to thank you on the behalf of Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering, Management, Department of Mechatronics, and to all the participants for attentive listening and making the session a grand success. Thank you once again, sir, for accepting our invitation. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Have a good
Thank you.
day.
Thank you. Have a good day.